It's back, the show where we answer your cycling related questions, but this time we've gone all festive. Now first up is this from James Cycle Can, who asks, "Hey GCN, I'm buying a cyclocross bike and I've just rewatched the dropper post video and it got me thinking, could using a dropper post on a cyclocross bike help with dismounting and mounting? #TORQUEBACK, keep up the great videos." Well James, thanks very much for getting in contact. Now, as you know, I've done a little bit of cyclocross in the past, but I'm by no means an expert. So I had a chat with Cy about this very question. Now, you would have thought that cyclocross, they'd use dropper posts a lot more prevalently, but hardly anybody at all, and I can't think of anybody, Simon was the same, uses them in the pro peloton. But they are available. There's a couple of brands that make them. Magura and Kindshock do a wireless activated system, and there's also a cable activated dropper post made by PNW Components as well. So our advice would be to try them and see if it helps. But Cy, he's just a little bit of a purist and thinks a cyclocross bike should be a cyclocross bike. And if you stick a dropper post on, you might as well be using a mountain bike. But anyway, if you're going to go for it, just make sure you get your sizing right, because not all dropper posts actually fit the standard 27.2mm seat tube, so do be aware. Now, if you're wondering what video we were talking about, it's this one, where Dan used a dropper post on a road bike at the Tour de France in the Alps. It is definitely food for thought.
What the hell is a dropper seat post? And that's understandable, especially if you, like Campagnolo, think that mountain bikers are the work of the devil. Essentially what it is a seat post which allows you to adjust your saddle height whilst you're riding. Now what that allows mountain bikers to do is get their seat out of the way. So on steep and technical descents, they can have much more confidence and go faster. So that got us wondering, could the same thing apply to road bikes? Could we descend faster on a mountain descent with a dropper seat post with more confidence, lower our centre of gravity and corner faster? And actually, could we get more aero by lowering our entire body?
Ooh, sorry Dan, with that dropper post, I thought it was Cy. Anyway, next question is this from Rafael Chipiel. Apologies Rafael if I haven't pronounced your name right. But anyway, here is what you've asked. Dear GCN, as you want me to ask anything, I was wondering if you could convince me to choose cycling over running, smiley face, and why? What an absolutely cracking question. Well, challenge accepted, Rafael. Let me start this way. First, before I used to ride a bike competitively, I used to run. So I used to do half marathons, cross-country running, and middle distance track running, so 800 metres and 1500 metres when I was 14 or 15 at school. But I got an injury and I couldn't run competitively anymore. So my dad suggested, why don't you get a bike and join a cycling club? And I did, and I haven't really ever looked back. And look at me now, 31 years later, I'm still in the sport, although I'm not racing, but I absolutely love it. Cycling has given me everything. It is my world. I live and breathe it, and I couldn't recommend doing any pursuit more than cycling. But to answer your question specifically, cycling is a weight-bearing sport, so you've got less chance of getting an injury. It also is remarkably liberating and freeing as well. Now put it this way, and I heard this only the other day, I never thought about cycling like this, but the average kind of speed of a general kind of cyclist is about the same speed as a bird in flight. That gives you a pretty cracking view on things in the world. I mean, if I haven't sold it now to you, I don't know what will. Also, cool kit, cool tech, you get to see places you haven't seen. The social side of cycling is absolutely fantastic. If you're still a runner, don't necessarily stop running, but get a bike, and I definitely think you'll change the way you perceive cycling. But we kind of put it to the test the other day. Just check this out. Simon took on runners on a bike.
The race is organised by Bingley Harriers Running Club, and it's located just to the north of Leeds and Bradford in West Yorkshire in the UK. It's a simple premise, a mass start race up a big hill and back down again. Runners against riders. Now, if I'm honest though, I thought it would be a no-brainer. How could a bike not beat a runner? Well, I was in for a rude shock.
It's going to be a very quick rapid fire round this week. Just 5 short and sharp questions. Here we go. Timothy Fish, why don't you have a GCN sticker on your laptop? It's because I saw the Lego Batman movie and Robin, he just blew me away, hence his place on my laptop. Next up is this from Mr. B. Why is everything called a hack? Did the word tip get replaced? It seems as if it did. Next up is this from Clive Woodling. After 6 months off the bike following knee surgery, my physio has just given me the green light to start cycling again. Nice one. What maintenance check should I do on my bike? It was cleaned and lubed and generally in great condition 6 months ago and has been stored safely inside. Well, Clive, if that's the case, your bike should be absolutely fine. Just make sure you pump your tyres up, get them to the right pressure, and worth going over your bike with an Allen key, making sure everything's tight and nothing's rusty. It should be absolutely fine. Glad to see you back on your bike. We have this from Speedrun123. Hi GCN, I'd like to know what road bike is fastest in the headwind. Is it disc brakes or rim brakes? Well, we've not done any tests to see which is quicker, rim brakes or disc brakes, but Canyon do state there's a 1 watt penalty for the disc brake air road over caliper brakes on the same frame. So not much of a cost really there for vastly superior braking power. Finally, in this week's rapid fire round, do pros have problems adjusting to new bike when moving teams or when a manufacturer brings out a new bike? And that's a question from Ian McKenzie. Pros don't really have a problem, but what they do have access to is the best physios, the best experts in terms of getting the bike fit right. They'll have a particular size seat set up, but again, in between bike brands, there are different kind of geometry setups. It will take a little bit of a while for a rider to get dialed in, but generally, they shouldn't have too many problems. Next up, we have these 2 answers. Note they're not questions, down in the comment section from the hotly debated and discussed issue of internally routing your cable. So first is this from Mike Richardson. Internal routing issues. If you get really stuck, try sucking thin thread or cotton through the frame with a vacuum cleaner hose, sealed to one opening with a bit of electrical tape. It works every time for me. Also, we've got another really cool suggestion from Aquiles Mass. Try using neodymium magnets to route your cables. I use it to guide the cable right to the exit hole on the frame. Really easy. 2 cracking suggestions from an issue that certainly isn't going to go away, especially on modern bikes. Most modern bikes now have internally routed cables. It's a big issue, so it's a topic that can be explored ad infinitum. So what I'm going to do, or what I've done, I've dug back through the annals and the archives of GCN to find this absolute gem of a video in relation to routing your internal cables. And it stars a very young and fresh-faced lastie threading the internal cables on my old bike. Just check this out.
One of the things that we get a lot of questions about is internal cables. Internally cabled bikes often aren't the easiest bikes to work with, so we've got a trick that you can try if you get stuck when you're trying to recable a bike.
Before you start this job, you need to ensure that your outer cables and any ferrules are ready or in place for when you thread the inner cable. Start by cutting a length of cotton thread. You want it to be at least 30 centimeters longer than the length of your down tube.
At this point, it's really important to remember to thread the cotton through all the component parts that the cable needs to go through too, because if you don't, it's just not going to work.
Tie the thread to your handlebars and thread it through the cable hole, ignoring the outer cable. Put your vacuum cleaner at the exit point of the cable and turn it on. Taking off any extensions from the vacuum cleaner should help. The thread should now be running through the frame. If you're having trouble vacuuming the thread one way through the frame, try switching direction. Thread the inner cable through the outer and have it ready for what is normally the frustrating part, putting it through the frame. Untie the thread from the handlebars and tie it to the end of the cable. You'll need to use a strong yet small knot. A clove hitch, or if you're more advanced than us, a rolling hitch is ideal. Now, simply pull the thread through the frame with the cable attached and it works.
Finally, in this week's show, we have this question over on Twitter from Eric Knauf, who asks, how about combining multiple GCN indoor training sessions in one workout? Which combinations make sense? #TORQUEBACK. Well, Eric, thanks very much for getting in contact. You can do any sort of combination of sessions if you so wish, but bear in mind that most of our indoor sessions are pretty tough. So you need to make sure that your body can take it, and also it'll depend on what your objectives are. But if you're training for sportif or for racing, doing 2 sessions in one day will definitely benefit you. You've just got to make sure that you have adequate rest in between each session, and also make sure you're getting enough fluids, that you're totally hydrated, and that you've got your energy stores right, to make sure you're fueling correctly as well. Now, quite often, I used to do 2 indoor training sessions in one day. They weren't essentially back to back. I used to have a 2 or 3 hour gap in between. What I used to do in terms of a combination of the style of session, First off, in the morning, I'd do a HIIT session, a high intensity interval session, because I was far fresher and could get far more out of my body when I was fresher. Used to have then 2, 3, maybe even 4 hours off, and in the late afternoon or even after work, I'd then do a longer, slightly less intense endurance-based session. But you can mix and match, and again, it really will depend on what sort of fitness you're aiming to get. It could be sportive, so you could be focusing on endurance, or it could be that you're starting to race, or you want to get that kind of racing edge, so you're looking at more high intensity sessions. Just make sure that you rest adequately and you can definitely get some benefits. Now, a little cheeky combination that I've got for you here is I Get Fit Fast, so it's a 30-minute indoor sweet spot session, like a tempo session, more of an endurance session, and also combine that with our 30-minute high intensity indoor workout. Try those, flick them around, see what works best.
We start before we kick things off on the climb, and at one point we'll be going through the snow line. It's important we get things warmed up nice and easy. So 90 RPM to start with, for just under 3 minutes. Perceived effort level between 2 and 5, but gradually ramping things up so we're ready to start the first sweet spot session. Just under 140 now, to the final sprint of this first 15-minute session. Final minute now. Stay focused. Really make this last one count, okay? 3, 2, 1.
This is a 30-minute high-intensity interval fat-burning training session. So we are going to begin by starting to pedal very gently, just to warm up, because we have got some hard work to come. We are doing 8 30-second intervals as hard as we possibly can. Now, that sounds tough, and it is, but don't worry, there is plenty of recovery between those intervals, because this is the most effective type of training you can do, firstly to get fit, and secondly to burn calories.
Well, that's it for another edition, a rather festive edition of Ask GC Anything. You knocked the candles over there, they've just stayed upright, but please do keep those questions coming using the hashtag TORQUEBACK down in the comment section or across on social media as well. And if by some strange quirk of fate you haven't already subscribed to the Global Cycling Network, you can do so for free by clicking on the globe. Now, for 2 more very cool videos I think you'd like, how about clicking just down here for our Zwift Academy final from South Africa, where one very talented winner won themselves a place on the Continental Dimension Data team for 2018, or click just down here, another video with Dan, where he travelled to Zambia for World Bicycle Relief to see how much difference a buffalo bike makes to those communities.